Hello and welcome back. Glad you've tuned in. And today's the day that the Polo docuseries has dropped on Netflix. So we have an exclusive here covering an insight here on Prince Harry and Meghan's vision for the docuseries. So let's get into this. The article here says, Prince Harry and Meghan were totally focused on bringing the world of Polo to Netflix with their new documentary series, Polo. The show's executive producer and showrunner Milos Balak said. Polo premieres on Netflix on December the 10th, taking viewers into what's nicknamed the Sport of Kings across 5 episodes. And the show follows elite global players as they saddle up in Wellington, Florida for the US Open Polo Championship, pulling back the curtain on the glamorous equestrian sport and the grit necessary for success. Avid polo player Harry and Meghan served as executive producers on the project, and Balak, who also served as a co-executive producer for Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney's Emmy Award-winning docuseries Welcome to Wrexham on FX, told People that the couple had a true vision for bringing it all together. The showrunner exclusively told People, quote, they were wonderful. They were extremely hands-on. They really had a vision for trying to get polo to be accessible to a wider audience, end quote. He went on to say, quote, Prince Harry knows the sport inside and out. To be able to have him as someone to bounce ideas off of and then also to get notes from, maybe if you'd edit it like this, the polo will just feel even more exciting. Or you got to make sure that the point is played out like this because that's how you keep it factually accurate, end quote. He also went on to say, quote, to have a polo expert in the house with him was so special. I think a lot of projects have EPs, that is executive producers, that can give great notes, but it's rare that you have someone who's truly an expert in the subject that you're documenting, end quote. And Milos went on to expound in a Variety article on how Harry is just such an asset to the team. When asked how Harry was involved in shaping the show, he went on to say, quote, he was involved, I'd say, in a pretty incredible way, in that he from the start definitely had a vision. This is a world that he knows well, that I know nothing of. And I think that was a good collaboration in terms of someone who really knows every tiny, minute detail versus someone who is coming in like the blind audience, and finding a way to meet in the middle where it's going to cater to a world of polo that already knows it and then bring in a slew of new fans, which is obviously our main goal. So he was very involved from the start in terms of suggesting where we might want to look for storylines, and then in the edit he was incredibly helpful. I really never actually worked with an executive producer in the sense where he had such an expertise for the sport that he could really offer excellent notes on how we were editing the gameplay, how to portray certain moments. And even while we were in production, he was giving so many ideas of like, quote, hey, you know what I love so much about polo is the feeling when you're on the horse and you just feel the speed and you feel the excitement and you feel the roar, end quote. So we kept all of that in mind in terms of trying to think of, quote, how can we then capture that and communicate that appropriately, end quote. And I hope we were able to do that a bit in the series. Asked, was there any discussion about having him feature more in the show? As we know, Harry turned up in the show, but in the final episode with Meghan. So he answered, quote, honestly, not really, because it just wasn't the premise of the series. From the start, the premise was always that we would be covering the US Open of Polo, capturing the top athletes in this world. It was just a great happenstance that the Sentebale charity game was happening in Wellington, Florida this year. That truly was by chance, so we were able to naturally integrate him into our storyline, which I think works really beautifully, end quote. So the article also went on to talk about some of the themes of the show, the storylines that they were going to focus on. So I'll try and avoid spoilers. I'll try and talk around it. For those of you who have watched, you'll be able to follow along. And for those of you who are yet to watch, you kind of get a taste of what's in store. So they asked, which were the polo players and the storylines you were going to choose to focus on in the show? Answered, I would say that revealed itself over the course of the US Open season. Obviously, it was thrilling that the Cambiasso storyline played out the way it did. To have the father and son versus each other all the way down to the final was our dream scenario, and it really happened. We knew it was going to be 5 episodes, which really isn't that much space at the end of the day, so we knew we had to be selective in who we'd focus on. And the goal was always to make this feel accessible. Make this feel like a world, even if you don't know anything about polo. The whole idea is to break down the stereotype that it is exclusively for rich and famous and extremely beautiful, wealthy, opera society. I think we also can't deny that obviously there are reasons why it's associated with that. It is an expensive sport in many ways, but living in Florida and witnessing it, I can honestly say that it is much more accessible. And back to the narrative about families, they talked about this. The father-son relationships. There is the Cambiasos, the Dutas, and obviously, although not featured in the show, Prince Harry, they also touched on the father-son aspect of this, and he answered, quote, "What I will say about the EPs from Prince Harry and from Duchess Meghan, the point was always that polo feels like one big family in so many ways." And it's true. I mean, when you're there, everyone knows each other around the field, and many are actually relatives, and then others are just by virtue of being in the same community. But we wanted the idea of family to come across throughout the series in multiple ways. So obviously the father-son duos in whom the Dutas, the Cambiasos, is featured. Lou and Pam are the husband and wife. And then they also featured Bob's kids and the way that the Cambiasos really see Bob as just another member of their family. So that was really what was behind that. And I think as a viewer, as a writer, as a director myself, I would hope most people have some parental relationship that they can find a way to relate to this. Whether it's like, quote, "Oh, that's just like my dad," quote, "Oh, that's nothing like my dad," end quote. So he hoped that viewers would have a reaction to it. And then he also talked about Meghan's touch in the show, saying, "The Duchess of Sussex, meanwhile, has been a supportive spouse and her husband's #1 supporter at his polo matches throughout the years." And Balak said that Meghan wanted polo to capture the welcoming energy of the sideline scene, a little-known aspect of the game. Quote, "I think I spoke to them before I ever went to a polo match, and it was Meghan who really prepped me for how wonderfully casual polo can be," end quote. Talking about Meghan's specific idea for the show, saying, quote, "Sunday Polo on Field 1 at the US Polo Center is a big to-do where people have champagne brunches and come with their beautiful outfits. But the rest of the week, every polo match is actually so down to earth. It's a lot of people pulling up in their pickup trucks and their cowboy boots, if not barefoot, with their dogs and their families and their kids to watch the game they love," end quote. So Balak also went on to say, quote, They're there not to see and be seen, but to enjoy the sport that they really care about. And people show up to that for free, and you just pull up," and she said that's what she loves," end quote. And went on to expound about Meghan's own facet in this, saying, quote, "She loves tailgating at polo matches. And that's just sort of set a light bulb in my head where I was like, quote, oh, this world is really not going to be what I think it is, in a good way," end quote. The showrunner continued, quote, "And we were able to then dig deeper into all the ways that it isn't what people assume it is," end quote. Balak told people about the strong bond between Prince Harry and Nacho, and that was so evident, saying, quote, "They are really great friends. That much is beyond obvious," saying, quote, "When Prince Harry happened to be along for the Sentebale charity match, we were featured. Just seeing them together at the polo field was infectious," end quote. Saying, quote, "It's like two buddies who really love each other and love the sport together, having a great time and raising money for a good cause. Was just such a good vibe day, and Nacho really is just a wonderful, lovely human. So anytime he is around is a good time," end quote. So here, let me touch on a moment in the show that I want to talk about, as the Sussexes made an appearance in episode 5. So if you've not watched the show yet, I will put a timestamp where you can jump ahead in the video where I will stop talking spoilers. So, on to the spoiler. So, the Sussexes made an appearance in episode 5, filmed at the Royal Salute Polo Challenge, staged in aid of Sentebale in Florida in April, where the pair were shown sharing a kiss, that famous kiss, on the podium. Harry, who's used to playing polo on the same team and against his father, is also filmed questioning teammate and Argentine professional polo player Adolfo Cambiaso about competing against his 18-year-old son and rising star Poroto. And he said to Cambiaso, quote, "You've created something special. He's doing amazing things," end quote, saying of his son. And Cambiaso replied in the light-hearted exchange as they were sitting on the side of the polo field putting on their boots, saying, quote, "We play together a lot, you know. You can play with your kid, something that you love," end quote. And Harry replied, quote, "Yeah, but what's it like playing against your kid?" end quote, and he replied, "It's difficult and worse when you lose," in quotes. And Harry laughed, adding, quote, "You're proud, but also angry," end quote. So I love that. I think that is Harry foreshadowing one day that he will be playing against Archie. I'm sure he would love him to get to know Polo and get as involved as he is. So it's cool there, Harry getting to pick Cambiaso's brain and how it is to actually go up against his son in such a competitive sport where you have to just give your all. And as he mentioned before, it's just so intense. Meghan as well was featured there. She was a proud wife wearing her sunglasses and her cream halter neck dress, and she was smiling and clapping, and you could see her and Harry having such an amazing time of banter on the field, celebrating Harry's success when his team eventually tramped 3-1. And Meghan presented the trophy to Harry on the podium, greeting him with a kiss, the moment that was, as I said, quite viral. And also, of course, Serena Williams, who was there, also did make a very short appearance in the show, being greeted by Harry and standing next to Meghan. I just love how she's been so prominent in Meghan's life. Love that. And Harry's life as well, of course. And then there was this cute moment where Harry, speaking to Cambiaso Sr., spoke about Meghan, saying, quote, "She's fluent in Spanish." And Meghan replied in Spanish and talked about her time living in Argentina and its May 25th Revolution Day national holiday, saying, quote, "Yes, I lived there about 20 years ago in Palermo Viejo. Las Canitas too. I love the 25th of May," end quote, Meghan said. So there is Harry beaming, and Cambiaso asked Harry whether he spoke Spanish with Meghan, replying, quote, "Sí." And Harry laughed, saying, "He knows I don't," in quotes. So yeah, there's a quick update, and I would like to add it in here. When Milos was asked about season 2, whether there were discussions on it, he said, quote, "I think they're definitely open to it. You'll have to ask Netflix about their plans in that regard, but we made the show with a lot of love. There's plenty of stories left in the world of Polo to keep it going," end quote. So if you watch the show, jump in the comment section, share your standouts and thoughts. So that's Prince Harry and Meghan now as executive producers, wearing such interesting hats. New hat for sure for the both of them. Cannot wait to see Meghan's show as well, which is on the horizon, and looking forward as well to the Invictus Games 2025 loading. Oh, the couple are booked and busy, so share excitement on all that as well in the comments. So on to the next story of the day. We have an update here from the Duke of Sussex's charity, as they have said that Sentebale's chief executive will be replaced by an executive director as part of a wider transformation plan to move decision-making power to the region in which it operates. So we have an exclusive here from the thirdsector.co.uk saying, "The London-based chief executive of a Southern Africa youth charity co-founded by Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, is to be replaced by an interim executive director tasked with delivering a strategic transformation project," the charity announced today. Richard Miller, who has led Sentebale for the past 5 years and will step down in January, said the change was the, quote, "logical next step," end quote, for the charity. He will be succeeded by the Johannesburg-based Carmel Gaillard, who will start this month in the new role of executive director on an interim basis as she leads the charity through a process of transformation. In a statement, Sentebale said that the transformation agenda aimed to stimulate innovative impact investment and scale the impact of its programs through digital and data-driven strategies. And the charity, which was founded by Prince Harry and Prince Seeiso of Lesotho in 2006, has evolved from supporting children and young people affected by HIV and AIDS in Lesotho and Botswana to addressing broader issues of youth health and wealth inequity. Carmel will become Sentebale's first most senior leader based in Southern Africa, marking the start of a concerted drive to localize executive decision-making powers to the region. And the charity said it would determine the vacancies in quotes and launch the recruitment process for a permanent executive role in 2025 once the transformation process is complete. Carmel, who has performed advisory work for Sentebale and previously held leadership positions at the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund and the Southern African Youth Mental Health Support Charity, described her appointment as a true honor in quotes and a pivotal moment for the organization in quotes. She said, quote, innovative funding solutions from both within the region and beyond will allow us to put the big ideas into practice that will take us to the next level of impact for young people in Southern Africa, end quote. Miller also said, quote, I welcome this change and believe it is an exciting way forward that will help unlock new sources of funding and energy for the organization. It is the logical next step for Sentebale, and the time is right for this shift to local leadership. Carmel is an incredible asset to position Sentebale further as a leader in the region, end quote. And in a joint statement, Princes Harry and Seizo said, quote, this shift reflects our continued commitment to being guided by voices from within the region we serve. We sincerely thank Richard for his pivotal role in steering our organization towards this important evolution, end quote. Sentebale said Miller would continue to work as a consultant in the international development space. And Dr. Sophie Chandauka, Sentebale's board chair, said, quote, we deeply appreciate Richard's investment in our Africa-based team that has transformed Sentebale into a more dynamic and integrated support system for our young people following the pandemic. These foundations have positioned us to welcome Carmel, whose expertise and innovative approach to programs and regional collaboration will be key. Our strategic shift to anchor leadership in Southern Africa enables Sentebale to build on the investment of legacy donors whilst attracting next-generation impact investors and funders. Funders increasingly prioritize organizations that authentically demonstrate local ownership of problem solving, digital innovation, and data-driven approaches to driving sustainable impact at scale, end quote. So Sentebale also did update on this, and they have said that the organization has programs in Lesotho and Botswana and remains a registered charity in the UK and operates in the US through the American Friends of Sentebale. And they say this is an exciting shift as part of the organization's strategy to invest in the growth of a locally led organization. So that is the update on Sentebale. Once again, Harry there and Prince Seiso issuing a statement saying that this is their continued commitment to being guided by voices from within the region they serve. So once again, Harry, he's always said, and I did stress this in many previous videos, Harry has never gone in with the attitude of, I'm coming to tell you what's best for you. He wants the voices on the ground to lead and to have their own inspiration, and of course, to share them through the organization.
And also in Botswana. And we're hitting the target, not just Sentebale, but in general, all of the partners are. And it's making a massive difference. And it is this surge of energy and optimism and voice of young people, ranging from 6 to 25. And the biggest difference, which really needs more work, but the biggest difference is when people at the top start listening.
So this whole journey of Sentebale started from that element of having experience, having come to the motherland. He's now my younger brother, Mahali, the warrior. Experiencing, breathing the same air, eating the same food as the children, that herd boys and shepherds, that inspired this dream to come to where we are now. But I think it is that deep felt need that we want to collectively make a difference in our lifetime. But not only in our lifetimes, but leave a legacy and pass on the baton to the next generation. So that's why we are going out in all different angles and tentacles to make.
And now their vision will be guided by people who are on the ground, who will directly interact with the children and the young people living in Southern Africa and finding ways to empower them and make them healthy and resilient. So share your thoughts on this in the comment section below. As always, before we log off, allow me here to thank those of you who support this channel financially and shout out a couple of you here by name. A very special thank you to you. Marcela Buresova, thank you for choosing to support this channel through membership. Your kindness and warmth has truly touched so many of us here on this channel. Thank you for being a blessing. And I pray so earnestly that God may bless you exceedingly abundantly above all you could ask or think. Thank you for choosing to support this channel. I truly love you. A very special thank you as well to you, Teresa Marhelko. Thank you. Allow me here to say how I appreciate you for the unwavering support and kindness that you have shown for so many years. You are so dear and valued, and words cannot express what you mean to me. Thank you for always being such a tremendous boost. May God bless you. And a very special thank you to those of you who gave through Super Chat. A very special thank you to you, Nutty Doctor. Allow me here to say that I appreciate you from the very depth of my soul. Thank you for thinking of me and for always being a blessing to this channel, to my work. You have been such a tremendous encouragement and boost. Thank you for brightening my day and making this community such a warm and caring place. I appreciate and love you. God bless you. Once again, thank you to all who support this channel financially. If you like this update, give it a thumbs up, click subscribe, follow on Twitter or X. I'd love to see you there for more informal posts. Have a great day. Keep it here for more, and I will catch you in the next one. Have a blessed one.
And also in Botswana. And we're hitting the target. Not just Sentebale, but in general, all of the partners are. And it's making a massive difference. And it is this surge of energy and optimism and voice of young people, ranging from 6 to 25. And the biggest difference, which really needs more work, the biggest difference is when people at the top stop listening.
So this whole journey of Sentebale started from that element of having experience, having come to the motherland. He's now my younger brother, Mahali, the warrior. Experiencing, breathing the same air, eating the same food as the children, that herd boys and shepherds, that inspired this dream to come to where we are now. But I think it is that deep felt need that we want to collectively make a difference in our lifetime. But not only in our lifetimes, but leave a legacy and pass on the baton to the next generation. So that's why we are going out in all different angles and tentacles